Hey, it's Rachel. So today we'll be talking a little bit more about something that's not quite business-like, but it also pertains to having a career. So what today will be is a little different from other times because I'm not having any slides on, it's just me. I'm basically gonna share with you guys my experience with um, pay raise. So how to negotiate for higher pay, how to, when you get a job offer, how do you get like a higher pay offer by negotiating for your salary? And let's say that you've worked for a company for a couple of years and you wanted a higher pay. So you definitely don't want to tell them that you want that or you need that because being needy is really creepy, but you want to present it to them in a logical way. And there's also this emotional aspect as well, which I'll touch on later on. But let's start with the logical aspect. So number one is you want to build your case. So by building your case, what I mean is, let's say that your job scope has 7 items on it, and obviously you're expected to, do those 7 items. Like, for example, you're a social media manager, and then you have 7 items on your task list, or you're a lawyer and you pretty much do the same routine task every single day. And so those are like the 7 items that you need to do, that you need to tick off your task list. But say you are an outstanding employee and you always want to go over and above. You want to try and contribute to the company. You want to try to solve problems. Maybe that's saving the company money, earning the company more money, solving a problem and preventing a future problem through, let's say, creating like cheat sheets or like tools or whatever that might help the company. And say that, you have been doing all these extra uh, task lists, which are not in your like responsibilities. And of course, that's a really good thing. I definitely want to encourage people to um, basically go over and above in their jobs because I mean, I always believe that it's not a job, it's a career. So if you want your career to progress, you really want to go over and above. But I digress. Let's not go there. So you just want to list out everything that you have done that is extra of your usual task list. And then afterwards, present that as a case to your employer. Because the person that has, I guess, powers to, increase your pay might not be your direct supervisor and might not be working with you. That means that they don't know what you've done. And if no one tells them about what you've done, then they pretty much think that you're just doing the bare minimum, which is obviously all your task list. And that's fine. Like, obviously, when you're doing the bare minimum, then you should get paid the bare minimum. So sometimes I feel that it's sometimes not about the experience that people have got over the years. And honestly, I would even say that experience really isn't the thing that matters the most. But I digress again. So the next thing you want to do is to do market research. So market research means that what are people being paid, you know, say that people like other people, your friends maybe, or your other colleagues that could have the same qualifications as you, could have the same experience as you, could have the same skill sets as you. What are they being paid outside? Maybe it's not your company, but in other companies. So that way you're able to have like a proper comparison and you'll be able to present your case a lot more effectively. And some people even suggested searching on Google, which I believe there's a few websites that say payscale.com or I think salary.com. But anyway, so you can search your salary or pay scale, like, average pay on those websites, and then determine whether are those about the same as the range that you've asked your friends who are working in other companies. And then from that range, let's say it's between $50 to $60, just choose one number that you're a bit more comfortable with, and that could be your minimum number. And you also want to then choose another number, which is your ideal number. Like the minimum number is the minimum that you're willing to accept for this role. And your ideal number is, if given to you, you'll be like super, super happy about it. You'll be like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing that I get this much of a pay raise. And when you're asking for a pay raise, you want to ask for the ideal number, because usually negotiations, while it should be a win-win situation, there's a reason why you want to give your ideal number, because usually you'll be chopped downwards to basically fit your, like, both sides of the party. So you and your employer would kind of give in a little bit to each other, and therefore settle on a number which is slightly less than what you asked for, usually. Of course, that's not always the case. You might even get the number that you asked for, and that'll be brilliant. But if they do negotiate with you and end up settling for something lower, then you know that it is probably going to be your minimum number anyway. And at least you get paid what you're worth, or what you think you're worth. So number one is present your case. Number two is do your research. Number three is, when you're going in, you want to be confident. So you can't, feel like, oh, this is, oh, it's such a nerve-wracking thing, or like, oh, I don't know what to say, or, feeling unconfident, feeling really nervous. And I get it, it's really nerve-wracking, because I myself had tried to ask for it in the past before, and most of the time it's really not what you really want. And it really depends on the employees as well. But the idea is you need to be confident, because you need to know what you're worth. And being confident also means that you need to state one number and not a range of numbers. That's what I learned from one of the other videos that I saw as well. So when you give a range of numbers, it's like telling other people to, hey, choose a number for me. But when you set a number for yourself and you tell that to your employer, it shows that, hey, you really are clear about what you want. And that's the reason why you want to set just one number. Now, afterwards, you also want to, appear, I guess, well, not really. You want to appear calm, although I know it could be really like butterflies in your tummy, but you want to appear calm, you want to be confident, and most of all, you want to be detached. So what I've learned from one of my mentors is high intention and low attachment. And what that means is, high intention is you think that you're going to get the pay raise, you believe that you're going to get the pay raise, and you just direct all your energy towards that. So think about those thoughts. Think about positive outcome kind of thoughts. While low attachment just means that, hey, if you don't get it, that's fine. You cannot appear to be needy, because it's creepy. And you don't want to tell your employer that, hey, I need this and I want this, because they must feel like you deserve it. It's not about what you need or want. And finally, there's this emotional aspect as well, that it's what I've been told by a few of my other friends who are managers. And it's not quite, I guess, for some people, they might think that it's going to work really well, but I feel like it could backfire and it could work really well. So it really depends on your employer. The idea is, it's using this particular tactic, which is found in, Influence and Persuasion, that book that I've mentioned about, I think a week or 2 weeks before. And it's to do with scarcity and urgency. Say, for example, that there's a shortage of what your current career is. So, for example, there's a shortage of pharmacists currently in Australia. And so a lot of employers are trying to hire pharmacists, but they're finding a lot of difficulty doing so because there's just a shortage. And therefore, just like economics, when supply goes down and demand goes up, obviously price goes up, which means that our wages, like companies have been offering higher wages just to keep their employees happy, just to keep them there so that the pharmacy can run. Obviously, not all companies have been doing that. It really depends. But for the most part, most of them have been increasing their wages, some a bit more significantly than the others. And that's when you want to play it by ear. So with the urgency, let's say that it's more like it's an urgent matter for them to hire an employee, sorry. Um, Maybe there's been like 3 employees leaving the company for better opportunities, and now they are in dire straits because there's lack of manpower and there's a shortage. So they're urgently looking to hire. And when they're urgently looking to hire, that's when you have a bit more of a barter point and you get to, state what you really want in terms of your price, and you might get it because of the urgency of the situation. But you can also play to scarcity as well, which is saying that, hey, I've got offers from all the other companies for example, a higher rate at $48 or something like that. And that's when you could let them know, okay, so there's competition for me. And obviously that makes you a bit more valuable because of the competition. So you might end up, because of stating out these facts and figures as a competition, it might draw a bit more emotions from them. And that could also help you to potentially get the pay raise that you want. Of course, it's a lot of different factors play into this, but if you do decide to negotiate for a higher pay, make sure that you remember these tips. So I'm just going to summarize them again. So number 1 is to present your case well. Let your employer know everything that you've done over and above for the company, whether that's solving a problem, preventing a future problem, earning more money, saving more time. Number 2 would be do your market research. Always make sure that you know what you're worth and don't go overboard when asking for salaries. Number 3 would be go in, be humble, be polite, be confident, and be calm. Always appear detached or basically having low attachment to that pay, because you don't want to appear money hungry. You just want to appear to be, I know what my worth is, So that's the statement that you want to portray. And finally, you can play with this scarcity and urgency concepts. Of course, it needs to be real and it needs to be facts that people have offered you, a higher salary elsewhere. But in cases where you know that there's a shortage in the workforce for your particular skill set, then you're going to naturally become a little bit more valuable. So you can play along with that and just do it at the right timing. And with that said, that is all for today's episode. I will see you again next time. All right. See ya.